My niece called me the witch from Snow White, and I can't shake the feeling she didn't come up with it on her own. Yesterday something happened that really shook me, and I can't tell if I'm overthinking it or if I just got a peek at what my fiancé's family really thinks about me. So here's the story. It was my mother-in-law's birthday. My fiancé and I went over to celebrate. His brother was there with his little girl. She's 8 years old. I hadn't seen her in a few months, but every time we meet, I try to be friendly. I've even babysat her before, plenty of times, when her parents needed help. I thought we had a decent bond. Not perfect, but good enough. Kids usually take a while to warm up to me, but once they do, I'm actually great with them. But this time, it felt different. The second she saw me, she just stared. You know that long, unblinking stare kids sometimes give when they're trying to figure you out? Yeah, that one. And then she turned to my fiancé and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Why are you marrying the witch from Snow White?" The room went quiet for a second. My heart just dropped. Now, let me explain something. All my life, I've been teased about my nose. It's not small, it's not perfect, and kids in school used to call me names because of it. Even as an adult, the insecurity never fully went away. So hearing that, especially from a child who barely sees me, stung more than I can put into words. I tried to brush it off, laughed awkwardly, changed the subject, whatever, but inside it hurt. Because here's the thing, her parents only let her watch cartoons, which means she did recognize me as the evil witch from the Disney movie. But what if she didn't come up with that on her own? That thought has been gnawing at me since last night. What if she heard it from her parents? What if, behind my back, people in my fiancé's family have been calling me ugly or comparing me to some witch, and the kid just repeated it without understanding? The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Kids don't just randomly invent insults like that. They pick them up from somewhere. And once that idea got in my head, I couldn't unhear her voice saying it. Here's the part that scares me. Moments like this make me want to lock myself at home forever. To just hide away because maybe I am too ugly for public. Maybe people really are staring at me and thinking I don't deserve the life I'm trying to build. I know it sounds dramatic, but old wounds cut deep. And last night, it felt like every scar from my childhood bullying was ripped wide open again. But there's also another side to this. Because as much as it hurt, I can't stop wondering, was this just an innocent comment from a kid who genuinely thought I looked like a cartoon character? Or did it slip out because someone in the family, maybe even her parents, said it at home? And honestly, I don't know which option is worse. If it came from her own little brain, well, then I'm crushed, but maybe it's innocent. Kids say brutal things without knowing the damage they do. But if she heard it from the adults around her, then that means the people I sit at dinner with, smile at, and call family might secretly mock me when I'm not there. And if that's true, what else have they said? So now I'm left with this question. Do I confront my fiancé's brother and his wife and ask if they've ever said something like that in front of their daughter? Or do I just swallow it, pretend it never happened, and try not to let it eat away at me? Because right now, it's eating away at me. I flipped my first car at 18, crawled out upside down, and the cop thought I was drunk because I was singing along to the radio. I was 18, driving my very first car. The car was mine. I worked for it, saved for it, paid the insurance, and it was completely mine. And because I was 18, young, and stupid, I drove it like I was indestructible. I didn't treat it like the fragile machine it was. No, I drove it like it belonged to someone else, like the rules didn't apply to me. That's what being 18 felt like back then. So I'm flying down a highway in my city. At that time, this stretch of road had barely any traffic and almost no police presence. The kind of road that begged you to press the gas a little harder. And I did, more than a little. The speedometer only went up to 80, and I was going so far beyond that the needle had literally disappeared somewhere inside the dash. The car had given up trying to tell me how fast I was going. Up ahead, I see taillights in the right lane. I figure, no problem, I'll slide to the left and blow right past him. Easy. At the same time, we're both coming up to an on-ramp, cars merging on. In my mind, no big deal, we'll both be way past them before they even touch the lane. That's how fast I was going. But the guy in the right lane, either not seeing me or not realizing the insane speed I was moving at, suddenly decides to merge left. He wanted to get out of the way of the merging traffic. Except I was already there. I hear a heavy thump on the right side of my car. My first thought is maybe his tire blew. I glance to my right and what I see makes zero sense. Headlights, right next to me, out the passenger window. For a second, my brain refuses to process it. Headlights don't belong there. That's farmland, empty darkness, not headlights. But I don't have time to figure that out, because when I look forward again, I see something worse. The guardrail. Not beside me where it should be, but directly in front of me. And it's moving from left to right across my windshield like a movie reel. That's when it hits me. I'm sideways on the highway. I've lost traction. The tires aren't gripping anything. Friction has completely abandoned me, and when it finally comes back, it's not going to be gentle. It's going to be violent. And because I'm 18 and think I'm invincible, of course I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Which means when this car finally flips, I'm about to bounce around the cabin like the last bean rattling in the bottom of a chili can. And you know what thought flashes through my head, clearer than anything else? Not I might die, not this is it, but Mom's going to be so pissed. Not just at the other driver. Pissed at me, for wrecking the car I worked so hard for being dumb enough to drive like this, for not wearing my seatbelt, for, possibly dying. But mostly, she'd be mad at me. That's the kind of thought you have at 18. I brace myself. Both legs slam into the floorboard, locked solid. Both arms push out, elbows stiff. My body is screaming, my muscles already burning, but I'm trying to stay in one spot because I know here is bad, but anywhere else in this car is worse. Then it happens. Boom, the car slams into something. Then another boom. Then glass, tiny shards spraying across my face. I hear scraping metal, a deafening scape, then silence. For a moment, it's eerily quiet. I don't move, I don't even breathe. Then slowly, it dawns on me I'm alive. Not just alive, but uninjured. I feel my arms and legs burning like fire from the strain, but no broken bones, no blood gushing. I glance up, expecting to see the night sky. But I can't. There are no stars. That's when I realize I'm upside down. The car is on its roof in the middle of the road. And somehow, through sheer adrenaline and locked muscles, I stayed pinned in my seat, like gravity couldn't touch me. But movies had taught me something else. Cars explode. Always. And mine was about to, right? So I needed to get out fast. All the side windows are gone now, shattered into glittering piles. The roof of the car is crushed against the pavement. The passenger side is nearly sealed shut, maybe a 6-inch gap. My only chance is the driver's side window. I unlock my arms and legs, and for a second I feel relief, until I slam back into the broken glass. My back and shoulders sting like fire. Still, I crawl out of the driver's side window, pulling myself into the night air. Then I get as far away as I can, expecting that fireball moment. Hands on my hips, I wait. And wait. But nothing happens. The car just sits there, silent, dead. No explosion. Just me standing there in disbelief, realizing Hollywood had lied to me. The people from the on-ramp come running toward me. Strangers. One woman, blonde, asks if I'm okay. And all I can think to say, the only thing that comes out of my mouth is, Mom's going to be mad. She didn't get it, but in that moment, it was the truest thing I felt. Then the cops arrive. One of them questions me, asks if I've been drinking. I'm stunned. What? No, I'm 18, I don't drink. He doesn't seem convinced. He wanders off to talk to the witnesses. Meanwhile, I'm crawling around in the grass between the lanes, collecting things that spilled out of my trunk. My deck of magic, the gathering cards scattered everywhere. Some of them were rare, expensive. Honestly, in that moment, those cards felt as important as the car itself. I'm on my hands and knees, bleeding, picking them up. The cop comes back and tells me I'm bleeding badly, that I need to wait for the ambulance. He repeats the drinking question. Again. No, I told you, I don't drink. These cards are worth money. A few minutes later, I'm sitting where he told me to sit. The radio inside my destroyed, upside-down car is still blaring. And wouldn't you know it, my favorite song is playing. I'm sitting there, looking at this wreck I should have died in, covered in cuts, bruises, and glass, and I'm singing along like it's the happiest moment of my life. Because in a weird way, it was. I was alive when I absolutely shouldn't have been. The cop comes over again, asks me the same question for the third time, and finally I snap. "You've asked me that 3 times now. How much have you been drinking tonight?" He just stares. I keep singing. I couldn't care less. I was just so damn glad to still be breathing. And that's where the story ends that night. The ambulance, the hospital, that's a whole other wild ride. But the crash itself, that's the night I learned I wasn't indestructible, that cars don't always explode, and that somehow my first thought in near death was still, Mom's going to be pissed.